Hi, it's Jackie and George. Thanks so much for joining us today. We have our March update delivered to you in April, if that makes sense.
So what we're going to talk about today, we've got a couple different topics. The same thing we always go through: the number of sold homes, the average sale price, days on market. A lot of news is coming out right now as well. Interest rates and affordability. What do you say we jump right into what the market's saying and what the news is saying?
What the media is saying.
Media is saying about homes. Isn't it great to have her here? I can't wait. I'm excited. All right, let's go. First thing, let's go to this article.
Here's the headline on the first article. The housing market is thawing as an increasing number of mortgage lock homes go up for sale. That, according to JP Morgan.
So what they're saying is that and we're going to show you more of the article in just a second. What they're saying is, oh, these people that have low interest rates, I totally get that, are finally saying we need to sell. Well, let's see what the article says.
The housing market looks to be gradually approaching a recovery. A growing number of mortgage-locked homes are going up for sale, and existing home sales, meanwhile, jumped nearly 10% in February.
Now, here's the part that's interesting, because we're seeing more homes that are selling, but we're also seeing our inventory level going up. We're going to cover that in just a couple of seconds. A little bit more in this article that's relevant. Let's go back to it real quick. The first paragraph, the bank points to the mortgage lock in effect. All right, that's great, but home sales have ticked higher in the recent months, a sign that the lock effect could be easing its grip on prospective sellers, says the bank. So, Jackie, what I'm hearing from that is they're all like, oh my God, I'm very optimistic. It's like, somebody's got a 2.5% or 3% mortgage. They're like, well, we just have to sell. And there's some truth to that. We do. We're going to go to our big board. We're going to take a look at the sales in just a second. But people are still a little freaked out about the fact that they're going to a higher rate, don't you think?
Absolutely. But still, you have a majority of people who have to sell, absolutely need for a job transfer or whatever, downsizing. So that's what we're seeing. Those people that have to sell are selling.
Yep, that's the vast majority of it. Let's take a look at the big board. We get to our graphs. We're going there right now. What you're looking at is the last 27 months of home sales. Particularly, let's look at the March uptick. You'll notice the first one, March 2022, it went from 3,400 homes sold to 4,300. Now, if we move forward to February of 2023, we're at 2,600 to 3,700. However, 2024, we're at 2,700 up to 3,060. This is nowhere near as aggressive of a jump up that we normally see in March, which is the beginning of the buying season, the selling season. Yeah, the season where we have the most activity in the state of Florida. And that is a concern. Obviously, interest rates, we're going to cover those. Interest rates have a lot to do with it. There's more bad news for potential home buyers. Prices just hit another record. Okay, let's take a look at the average sale price.
Okay, so let's start on the right-hand side because George always likes to start at the right-hand side. And you can see that in March 2024, home price average was $464,000. And that's an increase actually from February, which is about $450,000. Now, you'll notice in January, it did take a dip, but that's typical because usually every January we see the market go down a little bit. But overall, we are still seeing the prices maintain their value here in Florida.
So we still have a supply and demand issue. We have more homes coming on the market, which we've addressed before. We have buyers that are still wanting to buy in Florida. However, there is going to be some challenges with purchasing in Florida. We've got higher HOAs, we've got higher insurance. There's a lot of things. Florida is no longer a reasonable place to purchase. Central Florida, very much so. When we look at this and we're seeing the prices still go up, because the interest rates are high, I've got a real concern about affordability. Yeah. That scares the heck out of me.
So do most buyers.
Now, we had a conversation almost a year ago where I said I thought the prices, the interest rates were going to be down. They'd be in the high fives, low sixes.
I think that by next year, we're going to see interest rates mid fives.
And if that wasn't the case, I was going to get pie on my face.
Yes.
If I'm wrong, I'm going to throw pie in his face.
There's a real good chance that may be coming. Y'all stick around. By the way, if we haven't met before, my name is George Philbeck. This is my wife and my business partner, Jacquie Sosa. We've been in real estate for 20 years each. We've sold literally 7,000 homes in our career, and we'd love to help you if you have questions or you're in need of getting your home sold. A couple things you don't know about us. If you're buying a home with us and you don't love that home, we'll sell it for free within the first year just to make sure that you're covered and you're protected. And if you're selling a home, we guarantee we'll sell it in 45 days or we'll step in and pay the mortgage until it does, because we're that committed to your experience being extraordinary. So let's get on. The next thing I want to talk about is the number of days on the market. This is the number of days on the market. Now, I want to give everybody a disclaimer. Jackie and I use a very finite set of homes. We use homes that are in the Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and Lake County. We want to stay within a specific area so we get a good idea of month over month over month. So that's what we're looking at. If you've got some that are more in the perimeter, they're not going to show up, but we want to give you an idea that that's kind of what we stick with. And we're going to do the same thing when it comes to mortgage rates. Let's take a look at the big board. As always, I'm looking at year over year, and you'll notice that if we went back to March of 2022, we had 27 days on market. That means it took 27 days for the average home to get a contract that was accepted and then closed. Well, when the interest rates went up, you can see March of 2023, 48 days on market. And it didn't drop in 2023 as much as it did in 2022. I don't think we're going to see a huge drop as well in 2024. And you'll notice that in February and March, we stayed flat at 52 days on the market.
So on the surface, that may look bad that the market has pretty much stalled, but it's really a good sign because it looks like things are going back to normal. The only thing we need are for those darn interest rates to go down.
So we got a couple articles we want to share with you on things that are being talked about as far as the interest rates. Let's take a look. Before we jump into the interest rates, we've got to talk about inflation because all of this is tied together. U.S. inflation moderating consumer spending, underpinning the economy, which means that actually the spending is helping. However, there's another article, and this article talks about the top Fed Reserve officials saying no rush to cutting interest rates after disappointing inflation data. Obviously, this is a confusing message. They're kind of waffling back and forth. They don't know, and the truth is, I didn't either. I really thought the rates would come down, but they haven't, and that is the conversation.
And we could probably expect that to continue for a while. I mean, no one really has a crystal ball. I mean, do they?
Well, what they're saying is that the next time the Feds, the article that I just put up there, the next time the Feds are looking at this is really thinking maybe June where they'll do this. Here's the thing, though. In the buying and selling season that is Central Florida, our season literally starts right now. The sweet spot is the 10th through the 17th of April. We actually did some research on there. That's the best time to list your home. Period.
Right.
That just shows the high ability of success with the most amount of money. However, the interest rates, which is affordability, our last topic, they don't look to be coming down until after the season's over, and that doesn't really bode well. If you have to sell, you need to make sure that your property is really well marketed, that it is getting the attention it needs. It has to be highly internet focused. We've got a ton of information
a lot of digital marketing.
100%. Yeah. We've got that covered for you. If you want more information, reach out to us. In fact, we're going to do a valuation opportunity for you. Find out what your home's value is worth at the end. And I'm going to do it one better as well. But let's carry on because we do have some things to talk about when it comes to interest rate.
All right, we're back on the big board, and boy, don't we wish we can have those October 2022 interest rates. I mean, look at that, below 6%. Of course, we're always looking at that line there at 6%, and you can see that ever since September of 2022, it has remained above 6% on the average interest rate. It has gone down a little bit as we go to the right of the big board there. It's gone down a little bit to 7.22%, but still well above that 6%.
Now, it's important to note that these are average rates that we use for everything. Like we use a certain very specific area. I use a sheet. I'm going to show you actually what let me show you what we do. This is what we use when we're figuring out our interest rates, and we use the same formula the entire time. You'll see that the 30-year fixed rate is at 7.225. The FHA rate is at 6.75. That's terrific. However, what I want you to notice, and I always bring this up, let's say we lower our down payment to 10%. Holy smoke, the rates go down. The reason this is so important is you need to speak to a lending professional to make sure you get the best rates. That's the trick right now. There's also opportunities to do what's called a 2-1 buy down. You can buy the rate down for 2 years and then 1 year, lowering those. These are all strategies that will make your payments much more affordable. And I am confident, as everybody is, that at some point in the future, the rates are going to come down and you can refinance. Well, wouldn't it be great to buy yourself a year or two? Remember, these are examples, not hard pressed, carved in stone. Let's get you with a real professional. We got 3 or 4 lenders that are out of this world when the time's right. So I'll put this back up to the 20%, which we use as an average. And this rate right here at 7.225 is way too high. We are really looking for mid 6s to low 6s, and that's going to affect our affordability. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. Let's go back to the big board. This is the part that makes me just want to slap myself in the head. This is the affordability chart, and what I'm always wanting to do is showcase this one months and years ago, but that's not the case. Let's start at the right-hand side. You'll notice the affordability is 54.45%.
George, we should really explain to them how we come up with the affordability percentages.
Exactly. So what we do is we take the average sale price times the interest rate that we have that we just showed you, and we determine what their average principal and interest payments, or what their principal and interest payments would be. Now, we use a household income of $100,000. If yours is more, your affordability is much more reasonable. If yours is less, it's not. But we wanted to give you a static view so you can see across the board. Let's go back and take a look at this, because this is still bad news, and we are right now entering the busiest
season.
Yeah, this is not good stuff. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to focus on February of 2023, where the affordability was 49.5%. That's right below that 50% mark. And since then, everything has been higher. We tipped down in January of 2024, where we got to 50.77%.
However, because the home prices went up and the interest went up, the affordability also went up.
So when we get above 50, you can't really get a mortgage. Now, that doesn't include student loans or any other debt that you have that lasts for over a year. Here's our suggestion. If you're interested in buying a home, you are probably going to want to do a 2-1 buy down, which is going to buy down your rates. It doesn't affect you any other way, except it gives you, as opposed to a 7% interest rate, we can buy it down to a 5%. We're going to ask the seller to do that for you as a contribution. That makes their house more affordable. If you're selling a home, you better have your home properly marketed and exposed, because every buyer is a viable buyer. And how do we help them qualify for your home? And how do we help when homes are slowing down, making sure yours is the first one? It comes down to marketing, for
Always.
sure, and negotiating. There's your negotiating experts.
We both are.
Well, thank you. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at this video we're going to put up right afterwards. It talks about a report that I put together for you and your home, and I'm going to do you one better. Besides that, I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm going to go in and take a look at your property as an appraiser will, and give you the 3 homes that an appraiser can't avoid for your property. There's a form right down below. You just give me your name and your address, an email too, because I'll email it over to you. We'll send over the full paper report, and I'll do a customized video report for you. It will definitely make a difference as far as your value is concerned. And I love that I get to say this. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife Jackie is here for us and for you, and it's great to see you. Have a terrific day.
Nice seeing you. Bye.
So the reports that we create for our friends and our family include, obviously, the information about the home, as well as the current estimated value, as you're seeing on these 2 pages. Now, we also go a lot deeper into home facts and the extended home facts as well. And this allows us to really refine our value. And you'll actually see that the last page we're going to talk about is the refined home value, which includes some adjustments that would be made as well. Now, this is a 81-page report that will be sent to you that is very specific to your home, your community, and everything else. It is important that you have all the facts when making such an important decision.